I think I might go to bed.
Brett.
I can see the sun.
I mean, so can I, but that doesn't mean that I'm not tired.
Aiden, that's when you respond with, "Yeah, I'm in Alaska." I don't know. What would be my personal rule? If you're off the continent of North, no, that's not fair because then you could go to South America. If you are no longer in the Western Hemisphere, then I'll allow you to just watch the recordings outside of class.
Bet I'm gonna go to Pakistan.
Adam, where's your family originally from?
Pakistan.
Okay, yeah. So if you go back to Pakistan, then I'll let you. Okay, sorry. You get to look at all the people that turn in quizzes for AP Calculus, and yeah, Calculus they get quizzes now because they're studying for the AP exam. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to continue on with trigonometry, and I think this is our last day of trig. Well, I'll be honest. You remember when we went to the PAC and we had that balloon thing that we did, and then I got mad at Nevaeh for giving me a seizure because she was doing strobe lights. But I was going to try, if we were still in school, I was going to actually plan a day where we were going to go walk around the school and like find, how tall is the school? And let's go to like outside the cafeteria, and we're going to now measure to the top of the science building, the new science labs. And well, we kind of sort of can't do that. And I'm not sure how interested y'all would be in me going outside and be like, let's measure how tall my house is. By the way, it's short. So that was what I was kind of considering. Now that we're kind of all stuck here, I don't think it's as much fun if I'm just having you all watch me do that. So what my plan is then is I was thinking of us jumping into chapter 11 then for tomorrow. So you are aware. And yeah. Just so you are aware then, the last couple chapters, it's going to be a little bit more of geometry, but now we're going to be getting into circles. And then, let's see, what is next? Oh, we do some stuff with like finding angles in like a hexagon and an octagon, stuff like that. I labeled something as area of complicated shapes. That's weird. And then, so now I'm looking like a month in advance, and then we will eventually get to, chapter 13 is going to be, it's going to be fun and it's going to be weird because we're going to be talking about the equation of a circle. We'll be graphing a ton of circles. We will have, let's see, we're going to graph an ellipse. We're going to do hyperbolas. I maybe will be able to show you polar coordinates, and basically polar coordinates are a different way of graphing where you're going to use a radius, length, and an angle to find points. And it's all from the origin. And then, honestly, if we have time, it's not in the book, but I might throw parametric equations at you too.
The only thing I understood was hyperbole.
Hyperbola?
Yeah, that's the only thing I understood from all that.
But I talked about the equation of a circle too.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted. Let's do trig. Let's get done with class early today. I'm tired. I think all of you are tired.
Chris is most tired.
Sophie, Celine, Dylan have TV static to drink. I need to find other jokes.
I've been eating so many fruits, like oranges and bananas, that
It's
it's kind of ridiculous. Like that's all I've been eating. And
Bro, my
like
brother's
there's no food.
my brother's just been constantly eating clementines, saying it helps with corona.
No, clementines are so bad because they're sour. Like we have like the
Sour
big
is
oranges.
good.
No, we have the big oranges that are like sweet and like they're good and like they're my favorite.
Bro, the sour ones are the best ones.
And like after you eat an orange, you don't want to eat another orange, so you eat a banana and it like makes you want to eat an orange again, and then you just keep going.
I hate them.
So that's what I've been doing.
Gosh, I need some pure leaf green tea.
Oh, that'd be good.
I've probably ate more oranges than Briz has drank bottles of his
Pure leaf green tea.
Arizona tea.
Now, I'll just let you know, I'm drinking 1 gallon jugs, which I do go through a gallon jug in 2 days.
Wait, Briz, at school, do you fill your water bottle up with Arizona
You know
green
he does. You know he does. Like, no, it's water. It's water. It's really tea.
No, my water bottle at school is legitimately water. I use the water fountain right outside Miss Bianucci's office.
Water with a
Which,
pot in it that has
by
green tea.
the way, that thing does not count bottles correctly. That thing is set for like those tiny, like those bottles that you can just like fit in the palm of your hand. Like that's
The tiny ice mountain bottles.
Yeah.
The cones.
Next time,
The cone cups.
next time, the cone cups. Next time you go to school, seriously, look at the number. It says that we filled like over 2 million bottles already.
Yeah, I have seen that. And I was like, that's pretty impressive.
I even pointed it out to shoot, what's his name? Mr. Michaud. I pointed out to Mr. Michaud once, and he's like, "Oh, that's really good." And I'm like, "No, it's fake."
Well, who is Mr. Bichot?
He used to run Student Life, and then he was our director before Miss Rita.
Oh,
Yep.
That's really good.
Yeah, he was really impressed because at the time I pointed out to him, I think it was at like 800,000.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, "Wow, that's awesome." And I'm like, "No, that's not true. That's
You're
not
lying.
possible." And actually, the one down by the gym, or I should say the main entrance, the front entrance, that one is correct because the number is far lower. And it's not just because it's new. It's because when I fill up my bottle from that one, it usually only increases by 1. But when I fill up with the one in the high school, it increases by like 4 or 5
In the
each time.
comments, yeah.
You know how many, like, if like there was actually like 2 million bottles of water filled, do you know how much water that would be? That'd be insane. All right, excuse my interrupting. We can go back to class. I'm pretty sure this stemmed off of me, I think.
I'm gonna say one last thing, and then I hopefully will be able to get this train back on the tracks. So with a couple of my calculus students too, I've been helping them outside of class with what we're doing since we're reviewing for the AP exam. And yesterday, now granted, it's who it is also. I talked with Melly for 2 hours, and I want to say we actually only did math for like 45 minutes. And then the day before, I talked with Miriam for an hour and a half, and I think we only talked about math for like 20 minutes.
Oh shoot! I can't wait for AP Calc.
Okay, so long story short, I get distracted very easily. You all already knew that, and now it's just getting worse.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
a
we're leaving
beautiful
early.
day in the neighborhood.
Okay, so this question, what we're supposed to do, it says we're supposed to be finding A, B, or in other words, we're finding H in the triangle, and we split it up into 2 different triangles. So what we're going to do is we have to set up 2 equations in order to solve for H. Now, what's going to make it a little weird also is that we've got X down there at the bottom, and that X, we are not going to solve for X. We actually will not ever find out what that value is in order to get to H. We could find X later if we really wanted to, but it's not necessary for the question. What we're going to do, I'm going to split this up into 2 pictures. We're going to have the big triangle first, and we're going to include the 28 degrees. There's the right angle. Now the base, make sure that you're including both of these. So it's 120 plus x. Then I'm going to make this small triangle. 43 degrees there. And we know that the base is x and the height is h. And hopefully you can see now that we've split it up into two triangles that since both of them have a height of h, it's going to be pretty easy for us then to set up two equations which we can set equal to each other. I'm going to start with the one on the right actually, just because it's going to be a little bit easier. We only have, if we label the sides, we only have the opposite and the adjacent. We don't have a hypotenuse. We don't need the hypotenuse. We don't care about the hypotenuse. So what we're going to do then is we're going to set up an equation with tangent. So we'll have tangent of 43 equals, and then we will have O over A, so H over X. And I've already kind of mentioned this. What we need to do is, since both of our equations are going to have H, and that's what we're trying to solve for, what we're going to do is we are going to get these instead. Let's see. Why am I struggling now? We want to solve for x, actually. We want to eliminate x so that we have only h's left. That's why I was struggling. Okay, so what's going to happen then is that we are going to multiply this. We're going to get x tangent of 43 is equal to h. And then we are going to get x by itself by dividing both sides by tangent of 43. So now the first part of this, this is the first equation that we are going to use to get h, is x equals h over tangent 43. Now we're going to do the same thing with the triangle on the right side. This page 2 is going to get in the way, so I'm going to go cover it up. So once again, we're going to label the sides of our triangle. We again are going to be using tangent because there is no hypotenuse. So then it's going to be tangent 28 equals, and then we are going to have h over 120 plus x. Then we're going to cross multiply again, and we will have 120 plus x times tangent of 28 equals h. Sorry, the reason I got a little confused, the reason I was hesitating earlier is because I was noticing it was going to be a whole lot easier for us to solve for x, and then I noticed, oh no, we're not solving for x, we're solving for h. There's a little bit more work here, but now I'm worried that I did my answer key wrong for the homework. I'll have to double check on that. Anyway, so what we're going to do then next is I need to solve for x as well, because I need something that can be equal to this equation down in the lower right. So then we're going to distribute tangent into the parentheses. And it's going to give us 120 tangent of 28 plus x tangent 28 equals h. The next thing that we're going to do, since we have to get x by itself, we're going to subtract 100 tangent 28 from both sides. And we get h minus 120 tangent 28. Last thing, we divide both sides by tangent of 28, and there we go. We have our other equation now. So because both of these are equal to x, that means then that we can set these, better color, we can set these equal to each other, equal. So that means then that we're going to have h minus 120 tangent 28 all over tangent of 28, and that equals h over tangent 43. I think you're starting to see now why I only assigned 2 questions on the homework. And actually, from what I remember from the homework, I felt like while they involved this amount of work, I feel like the ones on the homework were actually a little bit easier than this. Yeah. So what we'll do then is we need to cross multiply again, and we need to get those h's on the same side. So now we are going to have h minus 120 tangent 28 and that is going to be times tangent 43, and that equals h tangent 28. Once again, we're going to have to distribute. I am having so many regrets right now. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to move my h tangent 28 over to the left side. And then this part here, we're going to add that over to the right. And by doing that, that's going to get our h's on the same side. Geez, I'm running out of space now. Okay, well, we got to shrink this down. So that means then that we're going to have h tangent of 43 minus h tangent of 28 equals, and then we add that over to the right side, we're going to get a positive 120 tangent 28 tangent 43. Sorry. Okay. We're almost there, I promise. It's only 2 more steps. Over on the left side then, since both terms happen to have an h, we can factor that out. So that is going to be h times the quantity tangent 43 minus tangent 28. And we can finally get to the point where we can use our calculator. We're going to have to divide this left side over to the right. So h equals the right side over the left side. And then you can just punch that whole thing into your calculator, and that finally is going to get us the answer. It is safe to say that if this question were to appear on on a periodic, I would tell you to skip it. We found that H is 148.45. And that is nearest meters. So 148. That was a lot. I apologize. I feel the need now to double check my answer key for the homework and make sure that one is fine. Oh, this doesn't look good. I'm looking at my answer key for the homework, and I think I indeed did I think I solved for the wrong thing in both of them. Oh, no. Yep, that is exactly what I did. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, at least what I did on my answer key. You know what? I'm gonna show you all a slightly different way of solving these for the second one I'm going to do, and hopefully it's a little easier, because then we can get to. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I think we're going to label this the bad way. So I'm going to show you one more question. Hopefully this one will go a little bit better. The reason this one is so bad is because here I had a solve for x. And that's fine. But what happens then is we had to do a bit of work just to manipulate it to get x by itself. And then we had to pretty much undo all of that work here to get h by itself. And I think what's going to be easier is if we actually try to solve for x first, which then makes it a lot easier to get h afterwards. So I'm going to show you a different question. Yeah, we need to look at a beach. So let's do this one. I'm going to show you this one. I'm going to make it a little bit easier, hopefully a little bit easier. We're going to solve it just a little differently. What we've got in this question then is we know that the width of the full triangle is 60 meters. And then we're given this x here. So then that means that this part over here, I'll change that to be in white. That part there has to be the 60 minus x. And then we can just ignore the 60 over there. And then now we've got x on that side. So move that so it's in a better spot. So we're going to solve this in a similar way, but this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to get us to figure out x first rather than just going straight to finding d. And I think that's going to make this a little easier for us. So the first thing, like before, we're going to split this up into two triangles. So there's 60 minus x with 42 degrees and d. And if we label the sides, once again, we've got the opposite and the adjacent. We do not have a hypotenuse. So if we solve this, set this up with tangent of 42 degrees equals opposite over adjacent, that's d over 60 minus x. We're going to get this here, and this time I'm just going to say, let's keep that equal to d. Let's not try to solve for x yet. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the other triangle. And, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We've got the opposite, we got the adjacent, we don't have the hypotenuse. We know we're going to use tangent again. Tangent of 34 equals d over x. Cross multiply again. This time we are going to get d equals x tangent 34. I know we're supposed to be solving for d, and what I'm about to do is going to actually get rid of the letter d, but what will happen then is by finding x, I think this will make it easier for the rest of the question. We'll set these equal to each other. So 60 minus x tangent of 42 equals x tangent of 34. We still need to distribute over here. So it's still going to become 60 tangent of 42 minus x tangent 42 equals x tangent 34. I'm going to add the x's over to the same side. So we will now have 60 tangent 42 staying on the left side. Over on the right side, both terms are going to have an x now. So I'm going to factor out x, and that will allow me then to divide both sides by the remaining tangents over there on the right. And now we're getting to the point where we're going to be able to use our calculator to solve this. And so finally, there on the left side, punch that in the calculator. And what we get is x equals 34.30. So, of course, we're supposed to be solving for d, though. We're not supposed to be solving for x. But the nice thing, now that we know this, is we can go back up to the drawing at the top. And since we know that x is 34.30, now we can just set up another equation with tangent, but this time we have enough information to solve for d, because it's going to end up being d over 34.30. And actually, I think some of you might have noticed, we could have even just jumped straight to this equation right here. And we could have just said d equals 34.30 tangent of 34. And we could just solve that. And there we go. We get the distance from the shore to the island is going to be 23.14 And it is, oh shoot, I typed in 34.3. I didn't want to do that. I wanted that one. Sorry. My whole bridge fail thing that I always talk about. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's still 23.14. Okay, and then the units are meters. Okay. That was a lot. I can zoom out and show you all the work that we just did there. Yeah, that was a lot. I do have 2 more questions, but honestly, they are the exact same as what I just showed you with these 2 here. Pretty much what I want to point out for you is just whether it is a question where you're given a picture like this, you need to separate your triangles and set up 2 different equations that can be set equal to each other. Again, this one, I think the type of work that we did there was worse, whereas this one down here, I think there's a little less work involved when we had to solve it. The second thing I wanted to point out to you was, I'll do this one because it's a little cleaner. When you get a triangle then that looks kind of like this, what you're supposed to do is drop down the height, and then you can separate those 2 triangles, then you're able to solve it. That is pretty much all I wanted to cover with you today. And this is a terrible way to finish trigonometry, if being honest. So I got nothing else for you. The homework is here. You know what? Just pick one of them. Don't do both. They're going to take you way too long. So just do one question. And that's all I've got for class then.
Which one's harder?
I think they're pretty much this. Well, so question 4 is like this, and question 8 is like the beach one here. That doesn't mean 4 was harder. It's just because I chose the worst way to solve the one like question 4. If you do both of them like I did this here, they're going to be the same amount of work.
Okay, sweet.
Yep. But yeah, so you all just pick one of them. That's all you need to do. So that's it. You all can head out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good day,
Bye.
everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.